So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this joint webinar with vBulletin and Vertical Response. We are very excited to show you a slick integration that allows you to easily pull your contacts from vBulletin into Vertical Response, and then we'll show you how easy it is to create a professional-looking email campaign. And then also how to view and monitor the performance of that campaign with the reporting dashboard in Vertical Response. So I just want to note a few things before we get started. We are recording this webinar, so if you want to see parts of it again, you'll be able to do that once we've posted it on our website. And we're also going to send you a message to everyone who's attending today after the webinar with a link to that, to where the video is being hosted. So lastly, I just want to mention that we'll be answering your questions at the end of the webinar. So please type them in the GoToWebinar box as you think of them during the presentation. Don't feel like you have to wait until the very end to start asking the questions. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I just want to start off by introducing everyone. So my name is Christina Hoheisel, and I'm the Business Development Manager at Vertical Response. I have been here for over 4.5 years, and I work specifically with our partners like vBulletin. And I've just put my contact information there on the slide in case you think of questions after the webinar today that you want to ask me, and I'm happy to address those questions. Then we have Jill Bastian. She is our Education and Training Manager, and she's been here, I think, 6.5 years, which is amazing, and I think that she quite possibly knows more about Vertical Response than anyone else, any other single individual at this company. So Jill is going to be doing demoing the Vertical Response portion of the webinar today. And then we have Adrian Harris, who is the Senior Operations Manager at, I think, Internet Brands. And he is going to be showing you the vBulletin side and how that integration, the integration works between our two platforms. So I'm going to move on to the agenda. Today, like I've mentioned already, Adrian is first going to start off by showing the vBulletin integration and how you can query your contacts in VB and then easily pull that list into Vertical Response. And then Jill, once we're in Vertical Response account, Jill is going to show us first how to upload your images, or you can choose from any thousands of royalty-free stock photos that are in Vertical Response, and how to edit those images. And then she's going to show you how easy it is to create a very professional, nice graphical email campaign. And then finally, she will give a rundown of how the reporting dashboard works and the sort of detailed information that you can see in terms of openers, clickers, bouncers, unsubscribers, all of that good information. And then last, like I mentioned before, we're going to do a Q&A. And I will hand it off to Adrian now to show us how the VB side of it works.
Okay, hello everyone. My name's Adrian, and I'm just going to give you a run-through on how Vertical Response is integrated with vBulletin and how you can go about pulling a list of emails from your vBulletin admin control panel. So the first process as part of this is to log into your vBulletin admin control panel. Now on the left-hand side, you'll see a box titled Email Tools, and under that, if you select the Vertical Response button. Now, can we go to the next slide? Okay. Within this section, you're given the options to sign up to Vertical Response. This requires you to input some information, which you can go through and sign up for the Vertical Response system. And if we can go to the next slide, thank you. Now, once we've done that, if you go ahead and activate your account with Vertical Response, and this will enable you to start working with your vBulletin system. Now, once you've logged in with Vertical Response in VB, now you're provided with some options. So here, if you select on the left-hand side, Upload List, this enables you to log in utilizing your vertical response username and password. And now you'll be presented with the options to generate your email list. Okay, at the very top of the screen, you'll see a drop-down. Now, if you've previously created email lists and campaigns with vertical response, you can select what those selections were to overwrite what the selections are for your vBulletin user groups. So, for example, if you have previously sent a campaign to all of your registered users and you want to update that list in terms of you may have generated the list 6 months ago and you wish to update all of the registered users listed, you can select that and it will automatically select the same options that you previously selected. If you wish to generate a new vertical response list title, you can enter that in the section below that. And then finally, you can also throttle it in terms of how quickly you want to generate the list and what size of the lists you want to generate. So if you want to send them in, say, 5,000 batches or any other limit, you can do that here. Now, the options are provided to you to go through and select what user groups and other specific details that you want to limit the users by. So things like dates that the users may have registered, the user groups they participate in, and any other information that you want to constrain the email list by. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and click Submit. Now, clicking Submit here sends all the emails of those individuals across to the vertical response system. And as soon as you've done that, you'll now be able to have the options within vertical response to send out the email campaigns. Cool. So that's the vBulletin side of the system. And now I'll hand it over to the guys at Vertical Response.
Thanks, Adrian. So I guess, Jill, we can go ahead and get started. Once the list is then brought over into vertical response, what happens next? Okay, so I'm Jill. So you can know there's two of us here, Christina and Jill from Vertical Response. And I'm going to take you through some of the things that you can do with your Vertical Response account. So you now have a list in your account that you can send out your emails to. One of the things that we can do with the account is store images for your emails. So what I'm going to do is go to the library up here in this navigation bar. And this is going to bring up the library where you can store images that you want to use in your email campaigns. And this is the sort of things you'd upload, like your logo or any images to use in the content of your email. And to do that, just click in the menu on the left-hand side where it says Upload Images. You can browse your computer for whatever image you want to use. It does need to be saved as a JPEG or a GIF, and then you'll be able to upload it. Now, as Christina mentioned earlier, we do have image editing tools in the account, and I'll show you that in just a second. Once you have the image in your account, you can then make changes to it, like resizing it and everything, and we'll do that in just a minute. And also, as Christina mentioned, if you want to use an image in the body of your email and you don't have that, maybe you don't have it on your website or something like that, we do have a gallery of images where you can get up to, we have 75,000 free images that you can select from. So there's probably something in here that you want to use with your email. We have them broken down into different categories to make it a little easier for you to find the images that you might want to use in your email. Let's go to construction, maybe there'll be some. There we go. So you can find whatever type of images that you want to use in your email. There'll be a couple of pages of the different images that fall into the category that you're looking at, and then there's some thumbnails. If you mouse over these, you'll get a bigger view of what these images are going to look like, and then you have two different sizes to select from. Generally, I recommend for your email campaigns that you select the small size. The large one is just a little big for emails, and even though we do have the image editing tools, the small one is usually the one that you're going to probably want to go with. So I'm going to use this picture of the crane at sunset. That's lovely. And I'm just going to click on the link that says small, and that's going to pop it into my library. So now the image is here, and I can use it in my email. But if I wanted to make edits to it, and again, this can either be from images that you upload or the gallery, you can use the image editing tools. So you'll notice as I mouse over my images, there's a little icon with a pencil. Click on that, and that's going to bring up our image editing tool. And we partnered with Picnic to give you these tools. And they actually provide a lot of different image editing tools. Some of them you may not use. They're things that you would use if you were uploading from a camera, for example. But the things that most people use in our system will be rotate. So if you needed to flip your image for some reason, you would be able to do that. If you wanted to crop your image, so let's say I just wanted more of a picture of the crane, I could do that. Or resize, and resize is probably the one that most people use the most. This is probably where you'll need to make some edits. Now, even though I selected the small size from the gallery, it's still going to be just a little bit big for my email campaign. So I'm going to make it a little smaller. And I'm going to do that by changing the, I'll probably change the height of my email or image. We do have this Keep Proportions box checked by default, and then that way you can change the size of your image. So for instance, I can change the height, and the width will automatically be taken care of for me. So if I change this, you'll notice as I type, my width is automatically being fixed. So there's my image. It's been resized. I'm going to click OK, and that's going to save the changes that I made. And now if I click Save and Return to Library, this will put the edited image back into my library. And you'll have the option of saving this over the picture that's there, or you can change it to a new name if you want to. So there we go. There's my edited image. It's been made a little bit smaller, and it's ready to go for my email campaign. So now we have an image to use in our email, and we have a mailing list. So let's go ahead and take a look at the email section. So I'm going to click on Emails in this navigation bar. And this brings up where I can see drafts. So these will be emails that I'm working on, but I haven't sent out yet. And then sent emails are the emails that have been sent. And that's where you can get the reporting. So that's where you're going to see who's opening your email, clicking on links, things like that. And I will go over that in just a few minutes after I show you how to set up an email. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating a new email. And I'm going to click on this tab over here on the right that says New Email. You can also go to this drop-down menu from the navigation bar and click New. Either one goes to the same area to start setting up your email. And the first step in setting up your email is this setup step. And the things that you're going to set up on this page are actually things required by the CAN-SPAM law. So I'm going to go through some of those and why you want those. But the first thing here is giving your email a name. Now, the name of your email is something that's just for your reference. So your recipients will not see what this is. This is just so you can keep track of whatever's going on in your email campaign. So call it what you want. Our system calls it the time and date that you set it up. You could probably think of something a little more exciting than that. So down here, these next 4 boxes are the things that are required by the CAN-SPAM law. So the from label has to be the sender of the email. And you'll notice that my box here already has a company name filled in for me. And that's because our system is going to pull it from this account section up here. Generally speaking, you want to have the name of your company as your from label. That's usually who your recipients will recognize more often than they would, for instance, a person. You know, you could send an email from the CEO of your company, but most of your recipients would probably recognize your company name first. Since the from label and subject line are actually the things that get your recipients to open your email, they're really important. So generally, you want to make sure that the from label is your company name. Now, the subject line, once your recipients know who's sending the email, the subject line is going to get them to want to open your email. So you want it to be something kind of catchy to make them go, what's going on in this email? The CAN-SPAM law says that it has to be something to do with the content of your email. So you can't have anything misleading in the subject line to try to trick people to open it. And the third thing to keep in mind is that most email clients will limit the number of characters that show up in the subject line to about 40 to 50 characters. So the subject line is something you're going to want to think about. It has to be something catchy. It can't be tricky, and it can't be really long. Otherwise, some of your recipients aren't going to be able to see what's going on in there. So I'm going to something. So you'll notice as I'm typing, our system keeps track of the number of characters. And once I get to 50, this turns red to let me know that I should probably stop typing soon because not everyone is going to see anything beyond about 50 characters. Then at the bottom of the email, we add a footer. And again, these are two things that are required by the CAN spam law. First of all, there has to be an unsubscribe mechanism, and vertical response is going to take care of all of this for you. So we're going to handle anyone who unsubscribes. That's going to be part of the reporting when you're looking at the reporting for your email. And we're also going to mark it in the mailing list so that you can see when you're looking at your list who's unsubscribed. You also have to have a valid postal address for the sender of the email. Now, again, I have a postal address set up here already. And that's because, again, our system's pulling the address from this account section and automatically filling that in for me. So what I would recommend before you send out your next email is go into the account section and fill in the profile information with your company name and your address. And then half of the stuff on this page is already going to be taken care of for you. And you can spend a little extra time writing a super catchy subject line. So the very last thing that you see on the bottom of this page is a reply to email address. And what this is anyone who hits reply to your email, we'll go through our system, we're going to look for any unsubscribes, and then we'll send the responses to whatever address you put in this box. So just make sure it's going to someone who's going to be able to respond to whatever questions might come up from looking at your email. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And this is where you get to select which editors you want to use for creating your email. So we have 4 of them for you to select from. So what I'm going to demo is the email wizard. This is the one that we usually recommend. This is a really easy templating system that you can use to create your emails. You can be an email professional or you could be new to the world of email marketing, and the wizard will make it really easy. There's some drag and drop formatting and a toolbar that works kind of like Word, and I'll show you how to do all of that. But you can easily add links and images and change your font and everything using this tool. The email canvas is a little more sophisticated than the wizard. It uses the same templates. We have about 700 templates in our system that you can select from. And you can use the same templates, or you can create your own template if you understand a little bit of HTML. This is a WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get. You also have the ability to access the HTML code with this one. So if you are at least a little familiar with how HTML works, you can actually go in and make some changes that way. But you don't have to. That's the nice thing about the canvas. You can just use a toolbar, which works like the one in the wizard, and just use the same template. Freeform is for advanced users, and the reason this is for advanced users is that somebody on your side needs to create all of the HTML code. So we're not going to provide templates in this one. You just copy and paste the code that's been written, and then we'll render the email for you from that. The last option is text only. This is a plain text email, so there's no images in it, which means we're not tracking the opens. If you do include links, though, we are able to track clicks on links in the text. So if you are choosing to use this particular option, I would definitely recommend that you put some links in there so you get some reporting. So let's go take a look at the wizard. And this is going to drop me right into where I can select the template. Now, as I said, we have about 700 templates in our system. That's a lot. We have lots of categories that you can select from, plus each category has a lot of different templates. So I would suggest that you kind of look through and see if you find one that you really like. Even it may not be in the industry that you're in, but you might find something that works really well for you anyway. I do lots of demos. I always use the same template. I don't know why. So if you click on one of these thumbnails, you'll see a bigger view over here of the template. And then if you click Select Template, that's going to drop it right into where you can start making edits to the email itself. So here we go. And the first step for using the templates is usually setting up the content blocks. Now, all of the templates that you'll use in our system in the wizard will already have content blocks in them. That's what this is. It says text. These are content blocks, and these can be moved around. You'll notice if I mouse over this bar, my cursor changes to a little hand, so I can move things around. You can delete the ones that you don't want. So I'm going to click on the little red dot there, and that'll allow me to delete that one that has nothing really in it. I can pull this one up to the top. For whatever reason, that's got my greeting, and it's down there at the bottom. You can just drag and drop. You can also pull things from this menu over here. So if I wanted an article with an image, I can just pull it over, and that'll be dropped right into my email. I can add a heading if I want, and I can even break up my email with a horizontal line. So if there's different sections that you have in your email or you have different articles, you can break them up using a horizontal line. So once you have these blocks set up the way you want them to look, you can start adding the actual content of your email, the text of your email, and you can just start typing into these boxes if you want to. If you've already written your email in Word, for example, or some other program, click where you want it to go. Click in this little toolbar up here where it says Paste from Word. Paste in your text and then click Add Content. Our system is going to pull out any of the unusual formatting that you can get if you pull Word out of its natural environment. So instead of seeing little boxes or strange little things in the middle of your words, if you use this button, your email will look great. So let me show you some of the things that you can do. Like I said, this toolbar is pretty easy to use. I'm just going to highlight this word here. So you can bold, italicize, underline, strike through. You can change the color of your font if you want to. You can align your text so you can left, center, right, or justify your text however you want it to look. And you can also add bullets. So it's really easy to set all of these up. You can change the size of your text just by clicking on the drop down. And you can even select a different font. Now, if there's a specific font style or size or even color that you want for your whole email, instead of highlighting all the text and then clicking on these things for each section, if you come up here to the top and click Overall Style, where it says Body Text, you can select what you want to set it up. So if I wanted Georgia for my whole email, not just that one word, I can select Georgia, and now my whole email has been set up with that one font. So it makes it really easy for you to set up your font, the size, and even the color for your whole email. Heading text and article title text are for the content blocks that I pulled over. So if you wanted to change the titles, you can do that up here. And then content box is for this background color here. So in this particular template, this image and this background color is locked in, but this background color, this kind of tan beigey color, is one that I can change. So if I come up here to where it says content box and click on this little color here, this brings up the color picker menu, and I can select a color that I want. So now I have a different color. If you like everything you've set up, you can click OK. If you kind of pick some things that don't work together, you can click Revert to Default, and you can start over again if you like. So let me show you just a couple of other things that you can do, and then you can, I'll show you how to send out the email and show you all of the cool reporting stuff that you get with your account. So let me highlight this word again. And if you go to this little link icon, it looks like a chain in your toolbar. You can set up a link in your email. So I'm going to go to vertical response. There we go. So our system will automatically set that up to be a clickable link so that your recipients will be able to click on that. And our system is going to track the clicks on that link. So you're going to be able to see in your reporting how many times this link was clicked on and who was clicking on it. You can also set up the images to be clickable as well, and I would definitely encourage you to do that. Most people know that they can click on an image when they're looking at an email, so give your recipients plenty of opportunities to click through to your website to do what you want them to do. So if clicking on an image is what they need, go ahead and set that up, and it's exactly the same. Same icon, it looks like a little chain. Type in your URL, click Submit, and then the image is clickable. And again, our system will track the clicks on the image as well. So speaking of images, I had uploaded an image into the library to use in my email. Now this over here is a placeholder image, so you could put an image here, or at the very least delete this one because that's not a very pretty image. But you can put images anywhere in your email. So I can go to this just plain text box, click where I want it to go, click this little image button in the toolbar. I can go to the library, and I can get my picture of the crane at sunset. Now, there's a couple of things you can do with this window here. So before you finish putting it in, You can still make edits to the size of your image if you want to. And just like in the picnic window, this little check mark will allow you to change one side, and then our system will make sure the other side is set up so that your image doesn't get distorted and kind of squished looking. Spacing has to do with how much space there is around your image and your text. So right now I have 0 for my spacing, and that means my text might run into the image, which makes it kind of hard to read. So if you put just a little bit of space around your image, your text will stay a little bit away. And now I have a little padding around it so that the text is easy to read and my image and text aren't touching. Alignment has to do with where the image is in relation to the text. So right now I have no alignment, and my text is, or my image is sort of floating up here over the text. If I click on the drop-down menu and go to left, that's going to pull the image to the left, and then my text is going to wrap around it. I can go right, and that's going to pull the image to the right, and then the text will wrap around it that way. And then the last box on this window is alt text. And alt text is something interesting. This does not show up in your email unless your recipient's email program is blocking images. As you all probably know, most email programs these days have a default setting where images are blocked until the recipient turns them on. So instead of seeing a broken image icon, your recipients will see whatever you put in the alt text. So this is a great way for you to reach your recipients with just a little more information, a little bit more what you're trying to get them to do. So if you're trying to get them to make a purchase, you're trying to get them to sign up for an event, whatever you're trying to get them to do, this is another place you can reach them. So I could call this Crane at Sunset, since that's what it looks like it is to me. Or I could say something like, May specials continue. And that might be something that's compelling to my recipients and make them want to turn the images on at the very least, or click through to my website and see what's going on with what my email is talking about. So it's just one other way to reach your recipients. I'm going to go ahead and click Save Image. And there's my picture of the crane and my linked up email. So once you've set up your email the way you want it to look, you can start to send it out. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And there's a couple things we're going to do on this step. So first of all, you need to preview your email. So this is the email we just created. It has my link and my picture of the crane. Now, our system is creating a text backup for your emails. This is something that you definitely want to make sure that you're taking a look at, make sure it looks okay. More and more people are probably seeing text emails now than they used to, just because there's a rise in the number of people looking at emails on phones. And not all phones are smartphones, so they don't always see the graphics. So our system is automatically creating the text backup for you. If you wanted to edit this for some reason, you can go to the step 2 and you can edit it on that step. Just make sure it's easy to read and that you have some links in there, because as I said before, we can't track opens if there's no images in the email, but if there's links, our system will be able to track the clicks. Now you do need to send a test before you can launch your email, and these are test emails. You will get 2. You'll get a graphical version and a text version. We want to make sure you know what everything's going to look like before you send it out. When your recipients get the email, they'll only get whatever version they're set up. So they'll just get one, probably the graphical version, but a handful of people will get the text version, and they'll be able to interact with your email. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next. So this is where I can select my mailing list, and here's my vBulletin list set up. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And this is the final launching step. So there's a couple things on this page here. We do have an integration with Google Analytics. If you are using that on your website, vertical response can be part of the traffic sources that you see when you're looking at Google Analytics. The recipient summary will show you how many people you're mailing to. And then the payment summary will show you the payments as well. So you can have email credits And basically how the credits work, you get 1 credit for every email address on your mailing list. So for this list, I would need 37 credits to mail to it because there's 37 addresses. The credits are good for up to a year. Excuse me. For up to a year. So you can purchase them in bulk, and then as you send out your emails, we just deduct from that bank of credits. And the more you purchase, the lower the per email price is. The other option that you have is we also have a flat monthly rate. So based on the size of the master list in your account, there is just a tier. Your list will fall into a tier, and you just pay 1 rate and mail as often as you like. So it's kind of up to you which one you want to do. It kind of depends on the size of your list and also the frequency of your mailings. And so we give that choice to you, and you can decide which one you want to do. And that's up here at the top of your account where it says Buy More. You can take a look and decide which will work. Usually if you have a smaller list or you mail once a month or less, the pay-as-you-go is usually the better option. If you have a larger list or you mail at least twice a month, the flat monthly rate is the better option. But again, it's up to you. And then the last thing on this page is scheduling when to go. Now by default, we're going to send the email out as soon as possible, but you can select your email to go out up to 4 months in advance. So you can use these little drop-down menus here to select when you want it to go, or you can use this calendar. This is how I usually do it. And you can go and select the day that you want your email to go out and the time and everything. So once you've set up your date, go ahead and click Send Email, and our system is going to send out your email unless it's going out in August, and then it's going to wait for August to come around. So let's go take a look at the sent emails and the reporting. And I'm going to drink some coffee while we do that. So these are the sent emails. This is where you can see kind of an overview of how your emails are doing. You can see when they were sent out, your open and click-through % rates. To see the specific information about your campaign, click on the name. And then this gives you a dashboard and shows you how your emails were doing. So this will show you your opens, clicks, bounces, and unsubscribes. Again, we'll track the links. So these are the links that we're tracking in your email. And this will show you how many times they were clicked. We give you a comparison of recently sent emails. So we'll take up to the last 5 emails you've sent out in your account, and we'll give you an overview of how they went. You can compare them. Now, if you're interested in comparing different emails or specific emails, if you go to this Reports tab, you can set up your own comparison. So for instance, if you're sending out split tests, or if you're doing a monthly newsletter, but you're also doing some individual emails that you're sending out, you can just compare your newsletters. So you can do all of that under Reporting. If you look over here in this menu on the left and click on Download Lists, this is going to give you some more specifics. So this is where you can see who's opening your email, and you can see the time and the date that they're opening, who's clicking on the links, what links they're clicking on, and again, the time and the day that they're clicking. We also give you that same information for unsubscribes and bounces. We also have our own analytics in our accounts. So if you have a website where people can make a purchase, we do have a way of tracking purchases through your email, so you can track the ROI of your email campaigns, and that becomes part of the reporting. So in addition to opens, clicks, bounces, and unsubscribes, we can also track who's making a purchase from your email, the time and date that they're purchasing, and the amount that they're purchasing, which can be very handy. And finally, on this page, we have a social sharing option. The social sharing will allow you to share your email with people who are following you on Facebook or Twitter. Basically, what our system is going to do is make a short URL. This is basically an archive version. We take that footer off the bottom so people can't click on the unsubscribe link. And then we take that short URL along with the subject line, and you can post it to Twitter or Facebook. And that way you can share it with the people in your network, and then your people in your network can share it with their own. So it makes it really easy to spread the word on social media. And this is just part of your account. It's free. You don't really have to do anything other than set up your Twitter or Facebook accounts for this. So that is an overview. If you come back here to the home page, you can take a look at
the email section, the reporting, and the lists. The account section, I did mention a little bit, and this is where you want to go to set up your profile. So when you're creating your emails, you only have to really worry about your subject line. So if you fill in this information here, that first step is really easy to get through. And any of the analytics I talked about today are set up through the Analytics tab here. So Google Analytics is mostly done by them. Once you've done everything they ask you to do, just put in your domain here. And Click to Conversion is where you can find our ROI calculator if you need to track anything there. So that's kind of a quick overview of how to use your vertical response account. So as promised, we're going to go ahead and start doing some Q&A.
Thank you very much, Jill. And actually, before we have a few more slides with just some resources before we hit the questions that you guys have submitted. So we're just bringing that up right now. So the first one I've listed is our help page that we call How to Do Everything, where we have dozens of short, quick, 1 to 2 minute videos that you can watch.
There's more than dozens.
Dozens, okay. Maybe hundreds, I don't know. And again, Jill will probably know since she's done probably almost every one of those little video demos. So that's a really, really great resource if you have questions or get stuck or want to be walked through, oh, how do I set up the Google Analytics integration? Or how to add an image or whatever. There's 2-minute videos. They're all really short. You don't have to spend 5 minutes like we did today. Exactly. And then we have our marketing guides where we have a lot of really great white papers and case studies and just sort of email marketing best practices that you can get a lot of information from, and we're constantly updating that page. We also do regular live demos that Jill actually does every week, similar to what you saw today. And then we also have like best practice webinars, like how do you do A/B split testing or savvy subject lines, writing compelling subject lines to get people to open your message. That sort of stuff we do regularly as well that you can sign up for. And then I just wanted to point out our support team that we have an in-house support team that does a fantastic job. Actually, they're award-winning, I can say. And you can contact them 7 days a week. We have phone, chat, and email that you can reach out to them. Just on the webinars, on Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific time, we have How to Create a Successful Newsletter, which is a great follow-up webinar to this demo that we went through today. It'll give you some tips on email marketing in general, content ideas for your emails, and things to keep in mind when you're creating the emails. So even if you haven't sent out an email yet, or if you've been sending out hundreds, this is a great way to get an idea of how to start or continue doing email marketing the way you should be doing it. Excellent. And it's free. They're always free. And then on the next slide, we just have some resources from the vBulletin slide that I'll let Adrian speak to if he's still there.
Sure. I'm still here.
Excellent.
So the top link there is a link to our conventional vBulletin manual, where you can find documentation about everything in the vBulletin software. I have a link there as well to the specific details of the vBulletin and vertical response integration, and also some video demos as well, both our full list of video demos that we offer on our software and a specific video demo on how to set up vertical response as well.
Excellent, thank you. All right, now we have a few minutes, about 15 minutes or so, that we can use to go over any questions that have come in throughout the presentation. So to answer what's probably going to be still a really popular question, we did record this, so it will be available on our website later on. That is a question we had there. Can you create new templates for the Canvas module? Actually, when you're using the Canvas, if you know HTML and have created your own template, you can use that in the Canvas tool. Just click on the tab that says HTML and you can paste in your own code.
And you can still use the Canvas toolbar, so you don't have to actually be in the code to make edits to it. You can just go in and click on the toolbar and change your images and your links just like I demoed earlier today. There isn't a way to save it in the account in the template section, but once you've saved an email in the account, whether it's in the draft section or in the sent section, you can always make a copy of it and then make edits to it. So that way it will still be in your account and you can still use it as a template. Tell us more about your approval process. Well, we do have pretty strict processes in our system for lists that are being mailed through us, and we also have strict policies about emails being sent through. So before your email is actually sent out through or sent out to your mailing list, it does go through an approval process. We have people here who are taking a look at the emails, and basically we're just making sure that they're in compliance with the CAN-SPAM laws, and just making sure it doesn't look too, maybe your images are broken. If your images are broken, we're going to let you know because we don't want you to send your email out like that. But basically, we're just making sure you're in compliance with the spam laws that are out there. And that just takes a couple minutes, and then your email will go out as scheduled. Do we need to generate a list every time we create an email? No, you don't have to. The list will be saved in your vertical response account, so you can continue to mail to that particular one if you want to. You can create a new one if there's different contacts that you want to mail to through your vBulletin account. You can create different lists, and those will be saved in your vertical response account. You can mail to one mailing list, or you can mail to multiple lists. That's up to you. When you go to send out your email, our system will make sure there's no duplicates on your list. If there is, we'll just make sure those people get one email instead of getting a whole bunch of them. But yeah, once you have the list in your account, you can continue to mail to it.
I just wanted to add to that. Sorry, I just wanted to add to that. And it may be worthwhile if you have a list created that you go back to vBulletin maybe once every 12 months or so and rebuild the list and gain all the new emails of new users to your website that may have been added to the list since you originally built it. So it isn't a process that you need to do on a regular basis, but it's worthwhile if you want to take advantage of all the new people that have registered to your website. That's
a good point. It probably, people are probably signing up regularly every month. You might want to rerun that list even more frequently.
Yeah, it depends how active your opt-in list is, but if it's pretty active, yeah, you probably want to do it at least once a month to make sure you're getting all those new people.
Yeah.
Our approval process officially is, somebody's asking a question if it's 24 hours a day, and it's not, but it's pretty close. Officially, we say 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but we actually have people checking the emails on the weekends and at night. So although we don't promise 24 hours a day, it is really close to 24 hours a day. So your email shouldn't sit very long in the queue before it goes out. We have people using our system around the world, so we've tried to make it easy for people who aren't in the Pacific time zone to still be able to use our product. And so having people checking the campaigns on a regular basis has really helped with that. Are the duplicates counted as one person and not two for pricing? Yes. The duplicates in your mailing list, so again, if you're creating, if you're selecting 3 lists or whatever when you go to launch your email and somebody's address happens to be in all 3 of those lists, when you get to that send page, we've already pulled out the duplicates. So when you see the number on the send page, the last step before you click the button to send it, the number you see there is the number of people that you're going to be mailing to minus any unsubscribes that might be in your list and minus any duplicates that our system found. So that final number that you see will be without the duplicates. You're not going to be charged for them. We just pull those out automatically. Okay, so this is a vBulletin question. On integration back to vBulletin, what is the recommended best practice in terms of managing bounces and unsubscribes? Does that feed back into
vBulletin? Question. Adrian, do you know if it feeds back into vBulletin?
It currently does not. So the unsubscribe list that is generated through vertical response obviously stays within vertical response, but it doesn't get added to the options within vBulletin's email management system.
Okay. Is there a way with vertical response that we can easily export all? You can from your account export all of the unsubscribes or bounces like into a CSV Excel file, can you then import that into VB to update your list?
Currently, there isn't a way that
Okay.
we can do that, but it's definitely something that we can look into.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, it's all going to be kept in your vertical response account. So every time you generate a new list from vBulletin and you bring it into your vertical response account, our system's going to look for those bounces and unsubscribes from previous campaigns. So you're not going to be mailing to those people. They'll be pulled out, and you won't have to worry about, you won't be charged for them, and you won't be mailing to any of the unsubscribes or bounces.
Yeah, that's a good point, that even if you're pulling a fresh, brand new list from vBulletin every time you send your email, and there are bounces and unsubscribes on that list, when you bring it over to vertical response, we're automatically going to scrub those because those have all been marked on the back end of your account. So it's something that as long as you're still sending to vertical response, you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Are there any tools to help ensure the emails don't end up in junk mail folders or getting killed by spam filters? There's a lot of things to help ensure your email doesn't end up in spam folders. One of the things that we have is our abuse team, our delivery and abuse team. They make sure that the emails that are sent out through our system are meeting the requirements of the ISPs. We work directly with the ISPs to ensure that your emails are getting to the inboxes, so our emails aren't getting filtered out. There are certainly some things you need to keep in mind when you're creating your email to help keep it from going into the spam filters. Watch some of the stuff you put in your subject line. You know, you don't want to use any kind of swearing. You certainly don't want to use the word spam or unsubscribe in your subject line. Using all caps for your subject line can cause issues. The other thing I would recommend when you're creating the body of your email, make sure you have a balance of text and images. You don't want an email that's just an image because that can cause delivery issues. And then if you're linking to a third-party website, so a website that's not yours, just make sure that the links are going to something that's reputable because that can cause issues with your email going into the spam folder as well. That's not really a tool, that's just information that I have, but we do have information for you to help make sure your emails, when you're creating them, that you're not doing something accidentally that could cause a problem, and then we have a lot of things in the back end to make sure your emails are getting to your recipients.
Yeah, exactly. There's sort of the two sides to it. One where we have a delivery team that manages, like Jill was saying, all those relationships with the ISPs, and you know, mail coming out of our servers is seen as good across all those guys. So we work to ensure that, and then there's the content piece within the body of your message and making sure that you're doing the best practices to make sure that your message is going to be delivered. And and the thing about that is that is constantly changing. Spam filters are constantly changing. Like I know that our director of delivery was saying that during tax time, a lot of like tax sort of content is high on spam filters radars, that they're filtering out that sort of a thing. Or like lately we've seen dear, you know, in their salutation, that is something that a lot of spam filters are filtering out. So stop using dear and start using hello, or just forego it altogether, you know?
Yeah, our marketing team stopped using dear as a salutation because it can be a problem with deliverability, and we've changed it to hi.
Yeah, it's interesting.
A little less formal, but
that you know, started to become an issue. But because it is constantly changing, it's one of those things that you want to, you know, attend various webinars about this sort of a thing.
We do a delivery webinar once a quarter. Once a quarter we do a delivery webinar which has information on kind of the do's and don'ts of creating your email, plus some of the background on what's going on with delivering emails. So if you're interested in that, that's kind of useful. Are unsubscribed emails counted in your list as subscriptions for billing? The unsubscribe, so if you're doing pay-as-you-go, it doesn't matter. Pay-as-you-go, you're just going to be charged for the addresses that you're mailing to. If you're doing the flat monthly rate, the unsubscribes are part of the master list, so they will have your list fall into a specific tier. If your list is near a tier or just barely over, you can delete the unsubscribes from your account, or from your list, I'm sorry, not from your account. That we keep track of on the back end, but you can delete them from your mailing list to drop the size down if that becomes an issue for you. So it just depends on where your list is falling. You know, if you're in the middle of the tier, your unsubscribes probably aren't really mattering. If you've just crossed over, they probably are making a difference. And then as far as the unsubscribes go, this is part of the reporting in your vertical response account. You can see specifically who has unsubscribed from your email campaign. That's part of the reporting. You can also download it from an individual list if you want to see who unsubscribed from a list, or you can download it for your whole account. So you'll at least know who's unsubscribing from your emails. Even if you can't see it in vBulletin, you can at least see what's going on with the unsubscribes in your vertical response account. And you'll have that record. That information can be downloaded whenever you want to download it.
Excellent.
So I'm not seeing any other questions.
I think that's so far it looks like that's all the questions. All right then, I think just thank you everyone for attending. It was great to see both sides of this partnership and integration and how it's working, and a lot of great attendance here. So thank you all for joining, and we will be sending a follow-up email with a link to the recorded version of this webinar after. Expect it within probably a week.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.